Good afternoon, everyone. This is Henry Gambell with SimplerTrading.com, and in tonight's free video, I wanted to look at an earnings idea with you in Costco. Now, Costco is due up tomorrow after the close, and earnings are, of course, a binary event, which means anything you put on could wake up to maximum loss the next morning. So you tend to trade them with that type of risk profile, right? Acknowledging that that is something that can happen to them. And then you try to think from a high probability standpoint. Now, my point of view is to look at this weekly chart and the general assumption or recognition that we are moving in a bullish trend, right? Earnings can do anything, and maybe Costco doesn't do well, but I'm generally going to try to err in favor of the path that we are moving, and I feel like the path of least resistance is higher. This is also an interesting earnings because of the large compression on the weekly chart. You can see that these squeezes, the one back here, really led into a really great move, and can be, earnings could be a catalyst for getting something like that started. So as we head into tomorrow, I've got a couple of different strategies that I'm going to be using. All of them revolve around the idea of staying above 300. So, the last thing that I will do personally is to look at it and think, I think it's bullish, I think it's going higher. I'll buy calls. I will not do that around earnings because remember the pricing of the options tends to be prohibitively expensive. I believe they're looking at about a $12 move, give or take, in Costco. That may change a little bit into tomorrow, but I would use either the expected range and try to utilize short puts below it, or I would just use the psychological value of 300. You'll be able to get a little bit more premium for them there, and you can see that that psychological value has been doing a pretty decent job of providing support so far. So that's one way that I'll be looking to trade for the actual report. And then there's another chart that may be getting ready for a run into their earnings. I usually think in three ways: for the run into earnings, a trade for the report itself, and then a trade for after the fact if it sets up. This one may provide a little bit of difficulty. This is MU. They've got earnings, I believe, that's coming up right in about a month. But if you look at it from the idea of this swing high against this swing low, it is right at some key resistance. And I would probably give it a day or two or three to let it digest the news that came out on it today. Right, it ended with an excellent bid, so give it a little bit of time to come in. But do you see how, this was resistance, and this is what we're facing again? The signals you've got on the daily chart, I think, are going to push us up through that. And over the course of the next 30 days, I think you find MU at higher prices. So, doing those through the earnings series calls can be a good way to participate, because if you can catch the volatility and the directional move, that's where it can really pay you. And I'd keep an eye on that in the chip maker as they get into their earnings report. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you at the next free video.